Morning and welcome to Tactical K9 Handler. I don't want to fight or have physical confrontation with anybody for two reasons. Firstly, I might lose and I might get hurt, quite possibly seriously hurt or even killed. And secondly, I don't want to be criticised or punished later on down the line. So how do I make sure I don't lose? Well, by trying to avoid as many fights as possible. Someone once said to me, the less fights you have, the more chance you have of winning them all. Which sort of makes sense. What else can I do? Well, I can keep myself physically fit and train in certain disciplines, but not everybody wants to do that. I can identify, negate and eliminate threats before they occur. Now, an example of this is a female approached me some time back and said, Wayne, can you teach me some self-defence? When I finish work late at night, gone 11 o'clock, I have to walk through a park on the way home, and there's groups of youths that hang around in the park, and it's quite scary and intimidating, and I'm worried that I'm going to get attacked or something's going to happen to me. So I thought about it for a few seconds and I thought, yeah, I could teach you loads of self-defence moves and do some scenario-based training in case you ever come across that situation, and hopefully equip the lady to deal with it. But then I questioned her and said, do you have to walk through the park? Is that the only route back to your home? And she said, oh, no, I could go through the main road, which is well lit, there's loads of people there, but it adds 5 minutes onto my journey. So I said, you don't need self-defence lessons, you just need to walk the long way home, add 5 minutes onto your journey, but keeps you safer. Now there's 3 different states of mind, in my opinion, and I'll liken them to a set of traffic signals. Green, orange and red. Green, you're safe, there's very little threat or risk of harm to you. Orange, there's potential for a situation to develop. And red, you're in the fight. And that's the most simplest way of putting it. People nowadays are in another world, and I call them phone zombies. They walk around with their phone in their hand, with their headphones in, eyes down, looking at their screen, not really paying attention as to what's going on around them. Their mind's elsewhere, they're concentrating on their mobile telephones or something else rather than what's going on around them. That 360 awareness of what's in front of them, what's behind them, what potential threats are out there around them. Now, if you can identify these threats before you're faced with them, then you can negate them and eliminate them before you have to deal with them. So, what if you find yourself in the red zone? You've done everything you can to avoid the confrontation, but for whatever reason the fight's on and you're in it. What can you do to protect yourself from being criticised and punished later on down the line, say in a police station or a even worst case scenario, a courtroom where you're facing criminal charges? Well, there's a little bit of legislation called common law, which, without going into too much details, basically protects you and gives you the right to defend yourself or another from attack or being assaulted. However, you need to make sure that your actions are reasonable, proportionate, justified and necessary. And I would add on to the back of that it's audited. So what's reasonable? Well, this is a good question, because what's reasonable to me might be different to what's reasonable to you or to somebody else. So I'll use an example of, in my capacity as a door supervisor, I've come across a situation where someone has used some aggression and some violence on somebody else. I'm armed with this information that I know this person can be violent. So I remove them, I eject them from the club, and there's a little bit of a struggle with them, and I've exhausted all of my communication skills with this person. It's gone beyond the point of reasoning with them, and now for whatever reason they're turning their aggression on me, and I consider my options, and I think I could break away from this person and walk away. Is that an option? I could punch or strike this person and potentially cause them serious injury. Is that an option? Or I could detain them on the floor, maybe protecting their head. Once on the floor, ensuring that that they can still breathe, no restrictions to their breathing at all. Is that an option? Now, all three of them options are viable depending on the situation and the circumstances, and I don't know which one I'm going to use until the actual time. So I pick my option, and today I'm going to pick option number 3. For whatever reason, option number 3 is my option, and I put a person on the floor, and then there's that member of the public who goes, whoa, 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 that's aggressive, that's too much. And if you're that member of the public that goes, whoa, 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 that's too aggressive, that's too much, you're probably trying to do a good thing, and you're probably trying to do the right thing, and your heart's in the right place with good intentions. But just bear in mind, you're only armed with a little bit of the information, not the whole scenario and the whole picture. And what you are doing, is that helping the situation, or is it making it worse? Is there other ways you can help the situation? Is there other ways you can calm the situation down? Is there other ways you can assist rather than intervene in the way that you are? That member of the public could potentially be a witness later on in the courtroom, or someone similar with that mentality who's never physically had to remove somebody, never had any confrontation or conflict in their life, could be a member of the jury. Inside, my feelings, my opinion is, I've just seen this person being violent, I'm now dealing with them, I've now gone from orange to red, the fight's on me, I want to keep safe, I've considered all these other options, and for whatever reason feel like this is the best option for me to take, so I'm going to take it. I need to be in a position where I can justify that later on down the line. Is it reasonable? To me at the time, yeah, it is reasonable, and these are my reasons why, and I'm going to audit that. Is it proportionate? Well, yeah, it is. If I was to be faced with that situation, drop them on the floor, then start stamping on their head, then I'd have to question my integrity. But at that time, I feel like it's justifiable, I feel like it's reasonable, I feel like it's proportionate, and I feel like it's necessary. Remember, now this is very important, I'm not anti-police, I'm very pro-police. I try to work with them as much as possible. An ex-officer myself, I've got a lot of time for the police. However, remember, it is not their decision as to whether your actions were reasonable, proportionate, justified or necessary. It's down to a courtroom. So a lot of younger officers who may still be learning might have their opinion, and they're entitled to their opinion. However, it's just for them to present all the evidence, collect all the evidence and present it to a courtroom. And this is where it's fundamentally important that you audit and preserve the evidence from your side, your version of events. Now, if you've got the luxury of a body cam, use it. Dash cams in road rage incidents, witness details, vehicle indexes, all things like this. Make sure you collate as much as possible as you can to protect yourself for that second fight in a police interview room or a courtroom should you need to. Now, these are just examples, but my point is, don't be afraid to defend yourself or a loved one if you really have to. But be in a position where you can present your side of the story. Well, if you've made it to the end of this video, then thanks for watching. I hope it's been of some sort of help or assistance to you. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. And please share on all your social media platforms to try and get some more viewers. Some interesting stuff's going to be coming to this channel very shortly, so just bear with us. Thank you.